Right, so this is just going to be a quick market commentary. So we started looking at this asset that was during the weekend, right? During the weekend, I just kind of drop this thing and the things I'm looking at, right? So I dropped the
Yes,
first
sir.
case and I also dropped the second case, right? But as of when I drop it, I clearly say that there is no confirmation yet, right? So that means I was waiting patiently for confirmation. Then the price action on Monday now gave me the needed confirmation to move. So let me just go back to the chart. I'll go to the daily, right? So the first rule we always follow is daily reject daily. So as of that Friday or during that weekend, I dropped this. This is what price was for. Looking at the daily storyline, right? Because then I was looking at because that was weekend. I always once it's weekend, I like to start my storyline from the week, right? So looking at the weekly chart, then this is what I have. But now for there to be a confirmation for this on the daily, this level need to break, right? But now, if we go back to the chart, we see that price did not break this level. Now, so as of then, there was no daily confirmation for the weekly. So at least daily has to confirm weekly for me to start selling, right? Then I was also looking at this, right? So and this is daily reject daily. Now there was no confirmation on the H4 as of then, right? So I was waiting for either for price to break this level or for price to break that level for sale or for price to break this level for buy. And this was the question. I think you were asking me a question in regards to that was on Monday or something like that, right? So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
for either of these to happen. I don't want to rush price. I want to just for price to give me that go ahead order. Unfailingly on Monday, I think I was following up the whole day scene, right? Then on Monday that was after action during London, right? When I saw this happening, this was the H4 candle. It was still for me. I told us that once this candle closes by London, I'll be looking for buy entry, right? Then I pick a buy entry on that Monday, but I didn't bother to. I just want some of us to actually use our this and pick entry. So I don't just want to maybe spoon food or whatever. Right, so that was exactly what happened. So the first thing first, this is price action on Friday, right? So from Friday, daily reject daily, right? So that means the first rule happened. Then what do we need for there to be a confirmation? Just go to H4. Right? If we are going to buy, H4 needs to give us a breakout, right? So this is what happened on Friday. This is the first breakout set that happened. I think this was the first candle I was looking at then, right? This is Monday, and this was 2 a.m. So this is where the first breakout happened, right? This was where the first breakout happened. Let me check the time I even dropped that message to just confirm whether it's the okay. That was 4:39 a.m. So that was the candle. So the candle started forming by the formation of because this is H4. The formation started by 2, right? So the next H4 that is 6 a.m. So
Okay, sir.
this was the candle that gave the first confirmation, right? And that was why I say that okay, I'll be looking for buy entries in London. And if you check, this was exactly the same level. I was looking for price to break from the insights I dropped during the weekend. Right, this was exactly the
Yes.
same level I was waiting. So the moment I saw that okay, price has broken it, so that means I'm just waiting to get an entry. But now for this particular trade, my entry was somehow aggressive. I will show you why. My entry was somehow aggressive. So when I came down to H1, this was where I picked my entry with 15 pips SL, right? But now my entry was aggressive. Why was my entry even though this is a clean entry? Because this is an A-shaped key level that was disrespected, right? So price disrespected it and closed above it. So this is supposed to be used for sell, but since price has disrespected it, we are not going to use it for buys, right? So my entry is okay, but just that is aggressive. Reason being aggressive because I didn't wait for liquidity. So this should have been the best or the optimal entry, the optimized entry, and this is an entry with zero drawdown because this particular entry now has liquidity, right? It has liquidity. This is the liquidity. Now, if you go down to M30 or M15, you'll be able to see the liquidity clearly, right? So this is liquidity. And also from the forms of liquidity I told us something that the first pullback, because this is a structural high, I told us that the first pullback that price make once a structural high or structural low is broken, the first pullback is always liquidity, and that is exactly what we have here. And also, if you don't know this by that particular that because we look at the various forms of liquidity, and also this is an inducement liquidity. This is an inducement liquidity because this is a structural high. If you change this to line chart, you see that price did not break this high. Because for everything to be, for price to actually be delivering, it has to continue to break the previous high. But now, for this guy, he did not break this high. He just touched it and dropped. So this is an inducement. So me that actually entered here because my entry was aggressive. Like I said, I didn't wait for liquidity. So I thought that price will continue to move with that momentum because of how the breaker happened, right? Because of the impulsive nature of the candle that broke out. So my entry was aggressive and price nearly hit my SL. So almost at SL and nearly hit my SL, right? So but now this should have been an optimized entry, even with zero drawdown, right? And you have a clear liquidity. So this should have been a conservative entry or the best entry to use. But all the same, price still delivered. At least I'm not a fan of using tight SL. So I always like to give my trade breathing space. So that was actually what saved me here. I been I'm the type that use tight SL. At least this will have hitting SL and going my way. Now and also the on EJ this week, price action was just the price action was slow on EJ. On EJ and GJ, the price action was slow, but the first entry gave me 6 RR and the first entry hit take profit. That was on Friday. Then the second entry gave 4.9, that is almost 5, and it hit on Friday. Now the second entry I pick it on Thursday, right? All following the storyline, right? All following the storyline. Now, if you go to H4, price gave something very, very important, right? We change this to line chart. If you change this to line chart, looking at this from perspective of structure, we are going to see that when we look at a bullish profile, like I always told us, is the bottoms that constitute the profile. We are going to notice that price hasn't broken any of the bottom yet. So price hasn't breaking up. So that means we are still bullish until maybe if price drop and break this bottom or break this bottom, then we now maybe start considering for a rethink, right? So once that is done, I will now look at the storyline to know what price is saying. But that doesn't mean that maybe I will just continue buying blindly. No. I know that, okay, price is bullish, but for me to pick a buy entry, I also look at the storyline. As I was following the buys, I was looking at my storyline to know what the storyline was saying. Right, so the first buy was on Monday. This is Friday. This was Monday. Then on Tuesday, looking at what price did on Tuesday, I already know that the buy pressure is still more. If you understand candlestick pattern, this is a hammer, right? And also, if you look at how the rejection was to the upside. So I just know that, okay, the momentum is still there. Then this is on Wednesday. Now, this price action on Wednesday was actually what made me to pick another buy entry on Thursday. Now, look at Wednesday, very sweet. Now, this is the open close key level, bullish open close key level. Now, Wednesday candle touch it and close bullish. Now, if you look at this Wednesday candle, so you are going to notice something. This daily candle, you are going to notice that there was no rejection to the downside. If you look at this top, or if you look at the top, you see that this top doesn't have a wick. Sorry. At the top of this candle, you see that it doesn't have a wick. So there was nothing like rejection to the downside. So this is clearly giving you an insight that, okay, the bullish force is still more, right? And if you look at this, you see that there was rejection to the upside. So daily reject daily, go down to H4 and look for breakouts, right? So daily reject daily on H4. Just look for the recent breakout. And this was the recent breakout. Even price broke this level. So I decided to reference this level as a recent breakout. So that was what made me to go to H1, right? And just pick an entry. Pick an entry. This Thursday and hold it to Friday. Right. So that was my play on EJ, and I think I was updating us. So everything is, I was updating us, right? So I was updating us and showing how. Then I also I also have entries on GG as well, right? But why I was focusing more on this EJ, because I actually dropped a kind of feint, a storyline we followed during the weekend, right? Then let's say I had an entry on Friday, but price is not, it was a miss entry, right? So this is a trade that I should have delivered at least. So this was where I was looking to enter, right? But this is the key level price used. So this is the key level price used, and which also makes more sense, right? This is the key level price used. And price deliver like that is approximately 9 RR. But for me, it was a miss entry. Then I think on Wednesday, so I had an SL on SAU, so right. But I think EJ was actually the guy that gave me the will I say the highest RR for the week. Then I also have on GJ. I had a first entry on GJ. This is like the second entry, right? So this second entry, I'm still on this trade for the second entry. So I'm still waiting to see what price we do by Monday. So my reason for still being on this particular entry, right? Let's just look at. So this is my reason for not closing this trade on Friday, right? So this is a V-shaped key level, right? So, and I'm looking at this as being a liquidity. So I feel like from the way price has gone, price will still touch this V-shaped key level before we should be looking to sell, right? So anything can still happen. And also this is also another V-shaped key level here. So anything can happen, but I've already broken even, right? So if price wants to go south, fine. If it wants to go in my direction, fine. But I will not close this trade manually. So the market will close it itself, either in profits at my TP, or it will close it at break even by hitting my entry. Because at the moment I've moved my I've moved my stop loss or entry, right? And I did not take partial, so just want to hold the full position. So that is a quick overview. Then let's just go to backtest immediately. So let me show us how we backtest. Let me start with SAU. So we'll show you how you backtest and also how you forward test. All right. Mm, so personally, like for me, I like if you for me, I like to do it manually first, right? I like to do it manually first by so I like to take my charts. The backtest is simple, but you just need to for you to backtest, you need to have an understanding of what we are doing. So you take your chart to sorry, take your chart. If you are using the free trading view, take your chart back to where to the extreme. So that is how me I do my right, and I will also show you my backtest data. Shows my backtest data. So take your chart back. Right. So until when you come to this and then you can. So for me, if for backtesting SLK, I do it in two ways. The first is I backtest key level that has liquidity or key level that overlaps with an imbalance, of which I've said several is one of my best entry models, right? So I like to take it in two ways. First, I backtest key levels, right? Any key level I want to pick, I want to make sure that maybe it's a key level that has liquidity before it, or is a key level that overlaps an imbalance. For instance, this is a key level, right? Just mark it. Then I know that this is the liquidity, right? So maybe if you mark, you can as well put your position to be able to know maybe how many RR price delivered, right? So this the first entry. Now this is another entry. But you see that this particular entry, it was not a miss entry, right? And if you are still on this trade, price came back and hit sell. So you just be as you've take your this thing back, just be marking the levels. Or you need to be religious with it and make sure that you are not just picking any point. You need to pick points you need to pick key levels that has liquidity close to it, right? Because the beauty of key level is when there is liquidity close to it, right? Now this is another key level, right? And this liquidity. So you just need to religiously follow it until you come to the current place where price is. Right now, you can decide to do this on all time frame, right? Personally, I did it for all the time frames I trade, right? For instance, let me go to my journal and show you. Right, so this is my back test for SAU. I did it on H4, I did it on H1, I did it on M15, and I did it on M30, and then I did it on M15. So if you look at my H4, right? I took my time So it's going to take you time, but when you do it and when you do it and do it correctly and take your time and do it, back there is one thing it does is that it's going to boost your confidence, right? So I took my time to I think this was actually the same thing I was showing you. So took my time to, even as I'm doing it most of the time, I also try to look at the structure by looking at, okay, when price breaks a level, maybe when price change trend, right? I want to look at the structure to know what's actually happened, right? To know what actually happened. So that is how I do it for this particular one. I think is from January 2022 to May 2025. So that was it. So have your data. When you have your data, it builds confidence in you, right? It helps you to build that confidence. So it's going to take time, but once you do it, you are sure. So this for H4, I have it on H1, that is H1 time frame, like this on H1. And the guy is still loading. From back there itself, you might even know some, like if you are the type that wants to maybe streamline to maybe to trade lesser number of pairs from back test, you can actually choose the pairs to focus on, right? Like I know that have been for a long time now, I've been focusing more on gold, EJ, GJ, and a bit of GU, EU, and NAS, but I'm still trying to streamline to maybe SAU, EJ, and GJ. So this guy is taking time to load, but then just go ahead. So I have it on H1. I have it on H1. So I have it on M30. I did on M30. I also did on M15. So these are the time frames I pick my interest from. So I took my time to do back tests on them so that I'll have that confidence to execute trade on any of them. I don't execute trade on M5 for now. So for me to start executing trade on M5 on gold, I need to do the back test and be sure that okay, I have data to work with. So first thing first, you need to build your confidence before you execute. So without confidence, you just be an analyst, because there is difference between an analyst and a trader. An analyst can tell you what price we do or what market we do, but if he or she can't execute, so he's executing the trade that makes you a trader, right? So that is how you do backtest. So do it on all the time frame you like. Now this is the manual way of doing it, right? So this is for key level. Now when you are not done with key level, right, you can now maybe come and backtest for storylines. Still the same thing. Still the same thing, right? Maybe if you want to backtest for storylines, you can decide to, maybe if you don't want to do for the full 1 year, you can decide to maybe do for, let's say, for 6 months or for 1 month, right? For instance, let me just try to, this is September, right? If I want to, okay, we are still in September, sure, right? You can decide to mark the beginning of September. The same thing is what you are doing, right? So how do you form your bias? You know that the first thing is first, rejection from a key level, right? and this is a key level. So when you see the rejection from key level, this is the manual way of doing it. I'll see show you how you do it, maybe using the replay tool. Then you go down to H4 to wait for confirmation. So you manually do it like this. This is where you have the breakouts. I think you have like 2 minutes. You can only click the link and rejoin.
Okay, sir.
So this is where you have the breakouts. Right after this breakout, you know that this is H4. Right. If you go to H1, this entry will be more clear. And I know that you actually took this trade. I remember this trade. Somewhere you took this trade. I was already on the first entry. You took the second entry on H4.
Yes, sir. I remember.
Remember this particular
I
trade.
still have the view till now.
Yeah, I remember that particular trade. Right, so maybe when you now come to H1, you now be able to see the entries, or maybe if you go down to M30, you see the entries and the continuation. So see, the same thing is what you do at the end of the day and at the beginning of the next trading day. So at the end of the current trading day, and at the end of the current trading day, you still do the same thing again, right? Still do the same thing again manually, right? Then the automated way of doing it is you can only be able to do that if you have paid trading view, right? If you have paid premium trading view, then you can use the replay tool and be able to. I think for the non-paid days, in the replay only works on H1, so on daily, so it can't go below daily. So but that is how you replay. You cut it, then it can't go to H4 because this only works on H1, but that's how you do it. But there are still other software that will help you to backtest. But for me, I like to do it manually first so that I'll be able to see what I'll be able, because as I'm doing it manually, I'm also studying some things along. Then after doing